I'm live. Lamau. Timer going. I really wish this little sponsored subscribe to earn drops thing would go away. Like, yes, I know. I want my chat to subscribe. I want people to subscribe and watch my stream and whatnot. I don't need excessive pop-ups. In fact, I would prefer not to have them. Anyways, I'm also on time for once, which is nice. File, recent ROM, Blue Rescue Team. Perfect. And that's why I have save states, so I can skip the whole lead up time without hopefully compromising the experience too much. You know, it's not like I'm relying on these to get me through a dungeon or anything like that. I'm simply using them to complement my save games so that if I hit the F1 or F2 key, it'll be functionally the same as hitting Control R, which is a reset function. It's like hitting the reset button. Anyway, we also, I know my voice is going to sound kind of weird. I'm in the process of voice training. So I'm gonna sound different than in most of my videos. Yeah. Here, hold on. Let me check a couple of things real quick. And then I might even want to just take the beginning of stream here to pull up some of the things that I wanted to talk about, because some of them are funny and interesting and whatever else. Yeah, let's go to... There we go. Very good. Here, let's duplicate. Put this at the end here. Very good. Nice. I have a link to that thing. Then what else? Let me look for... I think my drive is... No, my drive is actually not freaking out. This must be a Twitter exclusive thing. Man, I'm missing out on the bisexual and gay Twitter art community. I follow a number of artists. I don't know why none of their stuff gets recommended to me on my following feed. Twitter is so scuffed because, like, in the following tab and the like, even if you make a custom tab that is saturated with only accounts that you follow and every account that you follow, you don't see every post from them. It hides some of their activity from you. And frankly, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Let's pause that. Let's go back. I'm trying to find the one particular thing. Oh, yeah. This. I mean, it's really, no, don't reload. Duplicate the tab. God dang it. Sorry, I'm dragging my feet a little bit getting to the gameplay. All right, let's go. Let's do it. I've got up the things that I wanted to look at. Yeah. Let me actually, I'll start with talking about something that I find to be really funny. Man, I actually wish that international politics got talked about more, because that is some very, very funny stuff. You know, Latin American politics particularly. Get out of here. What? More than that? Come on. Oh, thank you. What? Throw that. If this is how the dungeon is going, then I am definitely cooked when we get to Rayquaza. Not gonna lie. Anyways, the reason I introduce and bring up international politics is because of Peru. Yeah, World Elects, Peru. President Dina Boluarte was impeached and removed from office. Her approval rating was standing around 3% for the last few months. You did not hear me incorrectly, and that wasn't a typo. 3%, not 30%. You know, Donald Trump, the Republicans, various far right parties, you know, that are in power or whatever, have been known to have, you know, approval ratings that may hover around the vicinity of 30%. No, the far right president of Peru had 3% approval. And this person that I follow commented on it, saying that it's likely that she's going to be arrested at some point for cartoonish corruption, like flexing gold watches as bribes and all sorts of other shit. And oh wow, apparently her government massacred a bunch of leftist protesters in 2022. So that's yeah, that could be a contributing factor. Um, but unfortunately, it is still Peru, which means that everything is still politically unstable everywhere all the time. That's kind of how Peru works, more so than even a lot of other Latin American countries. And I'm not entirely sure why. I just know that it's a meme that Peru is constantly in the middle of an economic and political crisis. Um, Maybe not in exactly the same manner as somewhere like Argentina, but close enough, I think, to be at least mention it in a passing comparison or reference. Okay. All right. Bye, Claydol. See ya. So Peru is presently going through it, but like it's weird because they've never not been absolutely going through There's some weird relationship. The Latin American countries occupy almost a completely unique political niche, unlike, well, a lot of other countries that I've seen where they are at least somewhat wealthy, you know? They're not like really poor. In fact, they're wealthier than some other countries that are part of the global north. But at the same time, they are not part of the global north. They're in the global south. Um, you know, so they're global south countries, third world countries that are relatively wealthy, but are constantly going through debt crises, economic crises, and political crises. Like, they're never stable. You know? It actually makes me want to read about the history of these countries to learn, like, why is that? Why are they constantly going through it? Like, with some of the countries that are dirt poor, you can hazard a pretty reasonable educated guess. And for some of those countries I actually have read up, like Haiti, you could pretty plainly see the effects of colonialism. What I'm confused by is how wealthy those countries are while still being in a sort of similar position with respect to like old colonial powers. So, but yeah, nonetheless, the president of Peru is now gone, soon to probably be arrested, and Peru is still in the throes of a historic instability crisis. Thank you, Mudkip. Oh, it's one of these. The mini map is like same color as the regular map, so I have to. Hmm. Also, it is very abruptly the weather changed, so I'm having to wear my sweatshirt again. This is my favorite sweatshirt. Hello, Gotron. Welcome back. Ah, where are the stairs? I cannot find them. Well, I mean, I've got the pattern, right? I'm just going counterclockwise. I'll run into them eventually. Not here. I can eat one of these. Saw a bunch of videos of Asmongold wanting to get rid of voting, which is to be expected. Yeah, see, I think let me rewind my own thoughts for a minute. Yeah, I think you're right that that is kind of to be expected. Asmongold is a know-nothing right winger who was is kind of reactionary to begin with, but then definitely had a problem with audience capture, where his audience was far right, and that dragged him to the right even more. He lives in squalor, and there's roaches everywhere. There's rats. We all know about the memes about Asmongold, right? Um, but I think what's significant about that is that he's not smart enough to continue disguising that part of right wing ideology. So he'll just say it. And it's also a really good encapsulation of the right because, flip a coin heads or tails for like whether he actually believes it or not. You know, like right wingers, the far right is so deep in the throes of vice signaling. It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't actually believe any of that and just sort of didn't care. But at the same time, I do feel like he just kind of wants to feel like he's better than everybody else. So it's like, oh yeah, instead of contributing to society, I'm simply gonna advocate for other people to be stripped of their rights and abilities to contribute to society or something. The cat devs are alive simultaneously. Yeah, Schrodinger's. It's like Schrodinger politics. You simultaneously do or don't have the belief based on what's most convenient in the moment. It's like 4chan nihilistic irony poisoning type shit. You know? But yeah, make no mistake, to the extent that right wingers have beliefs, they all are pretty reminiscent of that. Asmongold's just not smart enough to keep that part under wraps. Not everyone has ideology. That's true. Like I said, audience capture. The reason some people don't believe that, it's kind of, it's a little bit like projection. It's kind of natural for people to project their view of the world onto other people because we can't get inside people's heads, so we have to find some kind of substitute. But also there's a sort of bias where we don't want to believe that people are dumb enough that they just kind of sleepwalk through life without having any clue of what the world around them is. Uh, so we will sort of project ideology over people where it doesn't make a ton of sense, or over people whose beliefs are just like really incoherent. Oh, that was it. Okay, great. Who's ready for me to get my shit rocked? Big snake. Yeah. Snake dragon. All right, here we go. Sleep powder, please. Oh, it doesn't even have pressure. Interesting. Now, I think I memorized, for whatever reason, I memorized how much health Rayquaza particularly has. I think it's like 600. Go back to sleep. Thank you. And like a real snake, he won't swallow you. Yeah, he'll just beat me to death. Sleep powder's kind of broken. Ooh, interesting. Thank you, Rotom. Come on, please hit. Yay. Poor Duskull just doing whatever they can. It's true in real life too. Drugs are overpowered. That's true. What's wrong with him? He's really grumpy because he's like, "You're not supposed to be here. Get off my lawn." But we're trying to tell him about the meteorite, so. Victory, I think. My desktop audio is just not. Pokemon gods are so petty. That's true. In a way, they sort of mirror Japanese folklore and most pre-Abrahamic folklore, or even early Abrahamic folklore, um, with petty gods, both in their scope and power, and their personalities and attitudes. Which, by the way, makes for a way more fucking interesting pantheon than one all-powerful god who's like all benevolent. In the movies, they had to stop Arceus from killing humanity because one human was a jerk. Damn. You did it. Yeah, you told the fucking god of the sky to like wake the fuck up and actually do their job for once. The audio from the desktop is just not, it's just not coming through, it seems like. Oh, no, never mind. There it is. Okay. There just wasn't anything loud enough to trip the thing. We did it. We saved the world. I expected those boss fights to be way harder, I'm gonna be honest. Because in Rescue Team DX, they'll do some cheater shit to you. To be fair, you have sleep. That's true. That is true. Oh, and there he goes. Imagine all the loved ones from the main character when he was gone for this adventure in the human world. I feel like you're just not supposed to think about that part. You go back, yeah, you go back to the human world. There's fucking 6 months of bills and you've been evicted. Being a Pokemon gives someone weird habits. Yeah, indeed, I wonder. That'd be pretty funny. I want to be real. This one doesn't hit as hard as Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky. Real ones will remember when I played Explorers of Sky on stream, where you and your partner go and fight Primal Dialga at the pinnacle of Temporal Tower. And then on your way down, at the base of the tower, you die with nobody else around except your partner, and they have to go back alone. Like back to town, back to camp. Congratulations, you gave your friend trauma. That's true. He's gonna die to the vacuum of space, true. Sounds like a joke. After you complete the journey, some random thing kills you? Not sure I get it. Credits! While this is going, I can talk about some other stuff. Oh yeah, this clip from CNN, which I will not watch because I hate CNN, where it quoted from Stephen Miller, "If I put federal law enforcement and National Guard into a nice sleepy southern town, is anyone going to riot?" So number one, admitting that the purpose of putting the National Guard somewhere is to inflame political tensions, to give justification and excuse to further crackdowns on speech, right? And then secondly, I This motherfucker is currently running the United States. Bald, like, actual Nazi fucking soy right piece of shit. Been 2 weeks since the government shutdown. I forgot that. Yeah, we are in week 2, I guess. Really great government we have. This guy literally looks like Mussolini, but less funny. Like in Star Wars, being evil makes you look ugly. That's true. Well, the dark side isn't what made Palpatine look like that. He shot electricity out of his hands, and it was reflected back at him. Those are like burn scars and stuff. But yes, evil does also make you look ugly. You know? Funnily enough, I feel like that's kind of like the most unrealistic thing about both action movies and fantasy movies and all that, is that a lot of times the evil people also look like pretty normal. Palpatine just looks like a friendly, stately old man before he gets electrocuted and stuff. Whereas in real life, right, the most evil people in the world are openly, flagrantly, gleefully evil, and it kind of reflects on their gait and personage. You know? Legitimately, if Star Wars was like real life, Palpatine wouldn't have put up the veneer and he would have looked that ugly the whole time. Didn't Palpatine die because he was so old he could barely move his body to defend himself? No, he died because Darth Vader picked him up and threw him down an endless, like, reactor shaft, and he fucking blew up. That's how Palpatine died. End. I will save my adventure. Now, is there a, I guess there is a post game. I don't know how much I want to do that. Oh. Okay. Come right back from the sky. Yay. Save the game. Snubble? Oh, this is the point where they introduce evolution in the game. It's like the post-end completely invalidates the ending. Well, it's not that. It's that I'm not entirely sure that the post game is especially interesting in this game. The post game of Explorers of Sky is really interesting, and I like it. Same with like the post game in Pokemon Platinum and some other games. But in earlier Pokemon games, the post game was a lot less well developed. You know, like Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow didn't even have a post game. And then Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal had Kanto, but it was like really cut down as a post game for the game where you died. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's the evolution cave. you go in there and you evolve. There's actually an item for Pokemon that evolve by trade. They actually thought of that. There's an item called a link cable or like a link box or something like that. You just have to hold one of those and go in there. What about the Pokemon where you had to hold the device upside down? That one isn't in this game. That's a Generation 6 Pokemon. That game only came out in 2013. This came out in 2005. Also, I think it would be the same as the regular series games, like for Super Mystery Dungeon. Like you turn the DS upside down, or they might just like require a special item or location. How do you move around if you're a cocoon? I don't know. You roll or something? I don't want to go in there. Fine, I'll go in there. No, I don't want to go in there. Never mind. Oh, funny. Imagine rolling to work. Me when I'm a car tire. Anyway. I'm gonna sell this. Sell anything else? Ooh. No, I wanna store. I think I want to store these. Yeah. Yep, that should be fine. Do I have any other held items? Yes, I do. Special band, power band, person band. This one, also AI is ruining YouTube. Tell me something I don't know. I've gotten some of that AI content like recommended, and I have tried my best to filter it out, but ultimately the conclusion I came to is that, like, as YouTube phases AI content in, I think it's best for me to just phase YouTube out, except for the capacity in which I watch, like, a few select channels that I'm already subscribed to and upload my own stuff. You know, like, the internet is dead and being killed even harder by the companies that are left and the AI that they're using. So, yeah. Sure, give me a bunch of those. Feels like the rich are trying to get rid of hospitality. Well, kind of. Like I explained in the video about YouTube's restricted mode and how they're using AI to run the platform into the ground, they just want to maximize doom scrolling because that produces more speculative value for them. That's all they want. But they want it with such consistency and force that they'll bulldoze over anything good that the platform does or did, you know? Can't select multiple things like this. Yes, sell that, please. Sell this. I laugh at anyone that says capitalism is compatible with democracy. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's one of those things that's like very sophomoric, but it is genuinely true that, like, if you want to have democracy, you can't, like, there's only so much that you can do with capitalism, like one way or the other. Like, capitalism is an ideology of private wealth ownership and accumulation. Capitalism fundamentally is more compatible with monarchy and dictatorship than probably any other ideology. Like, the parliamentary monarchies of like the 17th and 18th century are probably the government models that are most compatible with democracy. And I mean that in all of their, like, in some cases, slavocratic glory, too. You know? Yes! Nice, we get the new friend areas. Yeah, it's just the ideology of money line go up. Also, we got new friend areas that are way more expensive. Time to bankrupt myself. Wait, actually not yet. I do want this max elixir. Yeah, stockholders. Put these away. Nope, don't want to store anything else. Now time to bankrupt myself. Give me all of the money. Then I'm just going to start buying friend areas. I'll start with the most expensive ones, which are 9,500. Yep. Iceflow Beach. So it's 9,500 and then 9,000? Are there any other 9,500s? Nope. So 9,000. Then 8,500. And I don't have enough for another 8,500, so I'll just buy this one for 8,000. And I'm down to 437 Poke. And since Poke's modeled off of yen, that's about $4. What does my job list look like? Tiny Woods, Lapis Cave. Right. Bulletin board? Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna go to Tiny Woods first. Maybe? Here, let me suspend these. What, if any, jobs here overlap with my current accepted jobs? Tiny Woods, Lapis Cave, Mount Blaze, Frosty Forest. So far, nothing. Mount Freeze and Uproar Forest. Okay, wow. So perfect 0 overlap. Yeah, I'll go to Tiny Woods first. Game's just the 2 of us. Fine. Bulbasaur running looks really goofy. Who is, you're above level 20, right? No, you're still only level 20, so Magnetar's gonna come with me. Join team. Oh yeah, for the I think the one other political thing that I wanted to mention, it's from Aaron Rupar, who's like a shit lib at times, but behold, we're not listening to this clip, but I am gonna read this out. This is Secretary of Defense, by the way, Pete Hegseth. I'm also proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Emirati Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. Look at my fucking country, dog. Look at this shit. This is the most unserious, like, this is why sometimes I, like, actually have a hard time taking the government seriously, even though they're, like, ludicrously authoritarian and fascistic in, like, what they say they want to do. They do shit like this for real all the time, which is, like, I don't know, you're flexing for the gram, but you just have more money than the average person who would be flexing for Instagram. Like, this is just, they're after that bag. They're after that petrostate bag. That's it. Like, the fucking joke of a country, dude. Yeah. Get it out of here. This is what we have to deal with in America. Like, in Europe, a lot of, you guys gotta understand, I don't know why I say you guys, the only people in chat right now I think are other Americans, so you guys probably perfectly well understand. But like in Europe, a lot of politicians will still try to gesture at a defense of the welfare state, right? Drink some water. You know, far right. Christ, I got something stuck in my throat. Like, far-right politicians in Europe will go like, we need to curtail immigration so that the welfare state can survive. But like, in the United States, they don't even go that far because they've already taken power over all the branches of federal government. So they're just like, yeah, fuck it. We get to, you know, sign these deals with Qatar and build air base here and take all these bribes and like just do whatever, right? And they still, like, because they're all grifters who want to line their pockets, portfolios, and resumes and retire early, none of them have the sauce, except for maybe Stephen Miller. None of them have the sauce to do real fascism. You see the clip with Katie Porter? No, but I heard about it, and that's really funny. And I was like, okay, this is why you don't have heroes. This is why you don't idolize politicians, right? She was like, you're not being very nice to me. She must be new to online drama, which is hilarious considering if she acts that way. She like apparently yelled at a staffer, like, you're in my fucking show. Like actual fucking Christian Bale tier crash out on camera. And social media obviously dogged on her for it, and she's trying to like do the conventional media apology circuit or something like that. Yeah. Talking like God planned on her to win. Yeah, some malignant personality traits showing through there. How are you gonna like almost drown when you're Lombre, a Pokemon who is number 1 part water type and number 2 has water absorb / rain dish, I think, as your abilities? Like, come on. Legitimately, that just doesn't even seem very realistic to me. Check mail. Mount Steel, Great Canyon. I don't have either of those, so. Rip. I'm gonna take Engels with me on probably most, if not every adventure for the time being, because if there's stuff in the post game, I need there to be like a pretty strong core of my team, which means the 2 of us. But right now, I'm just gonna go to Tiny Woods to do that job really quickly, or those 2 jobs actually. Nidorina joined the team. Very good. Poor Wurmple. Damn, that's just mean, Magnetar. Nidorina. Oh my god, I swear if this Nidorina actually dies... You are a moron! Oh my god! Ah! That is the funniest and most enraging thing I've ever seen. It's a good thing I have more Reviver Seeds back in town, but holy shit, you literally cannot... Well, you can't... That would be the same in DX, by the way. It would actually, that wouldn't have changed. What would have changed in DX is they wouldn't have been able to use Growl there. They would have only exclusively used Scratch. The AI in this game will straight up just not select an attacking move until they die. When they're on your team, bro. It's... Great. Really great game. Oh my god. Sometimes I wonder how these Pokemon survived on their own. They clearly can't. This Nidorina is level 1. No, I don't want to leave. Still one more thing I gotta do. Yeah, no wonder they have prophecies about humans. Get out of here. Destination floor, perfect. Alright, great. Yes, I would like to leave now. Max Elixir, very good. Graveler Rock. Okay. You know what's interesting? In this game, this year has been perfect for content, but bad for living conditions. That's pretty true. That's pretty true. I will save my adventure. Bro. Save my adventure again. I forgot to save state. There we go. We'll find out pretty soon if there's like more to the post game. Helper putting that in the mailbox. Very good. I noticed one thing in this game is the escort missions will have a slightly elevated difficulty, so you get better rewards. But in Mystery Dungeon DX, you actually get worse rewards for doing the escort missions. Not to say that the rewards are bad. In fact, the rewards in Rescue Team DX are a lot better than the rewards in this game. You know, you get better items. But escort missions will be of slightly lower rank than other missions. Maybe it's because they're poor? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know what the logic is for, like, making certain jobs have a higher rank despite that not matching how difficult it is, because escort missions are by far and away the most difficult missions in Rescue Team DX. It's not close either. Like, you run a massively higher risk of failing an escort mission than any other type of mission, because as much as the AI has been improved, there's still the risk that the guest Pokemon just strays away from the group because they saw another Pokemon and they just go get themselves killed. They pick a fight and lose. Maybe they lowered the rate because no one would wanted to take them. Well, that would suggest like the opposite logic, where like in this game, a higher rank means you get more points for doing a mission. So it makes sense that the escort missions are higher ranked because they're more difficult, so they should be more rewarding in some respect, right? Do I have Great Canyon? Nope, do not. They think they're Goku? Yeah, they think they're them. They think they're him, and then they're just not. Let me... What kind of stuff you got? Apples. I'm gonna hold off on buying things for now, I think. Be fair, actual people think like that? Yeah, that's true. What is it like, You should watch Tunari's video on, like, Noob Saibot from Mortal Kombat. It's, like, always the most useless people that think they're Goku and pick a fight and lose and still think they're all that and a bag of chips. And you're like, bro, you keep getting laid out time and time again. And it's just like, do you ever get tired of taking an L, like, constantly? But in their head, they, like, rewrite history. It's always, like, the most pathological people out there. Maybe that's why they need rescuing. Too big egos. Well, no, I wasn't talking about the Pokemon that need rescuing in this game. I'm talking about the Pokemon that you have to escort to somebody else that needs rescuing. I have no problem with the Pokemon that, like, get their butt kicked and they're like, shit, I need help. Because it's like, yeah, you're going into a dungeon. It's pretty dangerous in there. And they're like, hey, I need help now. Okay, great. No assumption being made that, like, you thought you were Goku. I'm talking about the Pokemon who's like, I want you to take me to my fallen comrade, and then they go and pick a fight and lose. Like, what's wrong with them? It's like, didn't you want to see your friend? I guess not, huh? Not that badly, anyway. I am going to take... Do I have more reviver seeds? I do. Only 6. Yeah, I'll take them. Yes. I think unless I get TM for like Sludge or Sludge Bomb, I'm probably just kind of stuck with Tackle, Sleep Powder, Razor Leaf, and Vine Whip, which I'm pretty happy with, all things considered, right? Like, I'd probably forget Vine Whip for Sludge, but like Razor Leaf and Sleep Powder are really good moves in this game. Stretch? Alright, I got you. I don't know what I would forget Tackle for, though. It's like a pretty basic move that's like more accurate than most moves. If I remember how they do accuracy in this game, then like Tackle is one of the more accurate ones. You guys can't see the stretch that I'm doing. Here we go. I like the move to feel like gambling. I don't! Which is why I don't learn things like takedown or high jump kick. These are the stretches that I do to practice for doing Ryu, like the donkey kick move from Street Fighter. You know, it's called the Jodan Sokutogeri, but that's like kind of a misnomer because the version I'm doing is not a high blade kick. You know, it's kind of mid-level, and you're kicking with the heel and sole of your foot rather than the blade. You know, it's kind of hard for me to show this off right now, but like, you know, I'll do my best. You kind of, if you see how my body is shaped, you kind of hold that position. Whereas with a high blade kick, it's kind of, again, it's difficult for me to convey visually, but you're more like, if I were doing a high blade kick that way, you know, like I was just doing, the front of my body would be more facing the camera. Whereas you can kind of see, if I try to do it the way Ryu does it, you can see I'm almost facing down, you know? I've watched some videos of like karate experts, and it's almost like with Ryu's donkey kick from Street Fighter 3 and from like Marvel vs. Capcom, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. It's almost like you're doing a hybrid between a high blade kick and a back kick. Does that make sense? Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that stretching thing. Now let me go look at the jobs on the bulletin board. What else we got? Frosty Forest, Mount Freeze. Nope, none of that. Oh, I am not rushing to take any jobs at Sky Tower just yet. I'd have to get pretty significantly higher level. I like how you just stand in front of those people without a second thought. Yeah. Okay. Also, are these guys actually a team now? What, they're only bronze rank? That's crazy. New friend area. Oh, cool. So wait, Blastoise is only bronze rank and Golem is only normal rank? And to confirm, they're not all on the same team? Meanwhile, I'm silver rank. I have a better exploration team than these guys. What are friend areas? So in this game, when you defeat a Pokemon in a dungeon, depending on the dungeon, there's a chance that you will befriend them. But in order to do so, you have to have a friend area to put them. And they roughly correspond to, or actually they pretty closely correspond to the kind of habitat that Pokemon would live in. It basically, like, it's like, so you're hiring homeless people? No, you can't hire them if they don't have somewhere to go. That's what I'm saying. You know? It's like the Pokemon live in the dungeon or whatever. But like if you recruit them, then they go to one of the... I mean, they don't originally have a home, you put them in a home. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess kind of, right? But yeah, those are friend areas. Alright. So no overlap again. See, look at the fucking escort mission. Ooh. I hate escort missions. Did I take exclusively escort missions? What the fuck? Look at this. Cigarette Girl, welcome. Welcome back, I should say. Does it work like the PC and other games? Yeah, kind of. Nice if your character didn't charge rent. Yeah, you don't charge rent, in fact, to stay at a friend area. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a landlord, all right? That would make me the bad guy. I saw a couple of, I think I saw Great Canyon over there. Great Canyon. Okay, it's just me right now. Yeah, there's Great Canyon here. I'll take the Great Canyon missions. Sure. But first I'm gonna activate the Uproar Forest ones, I think. Yeah. YouTube clip where Spider-Man beats up the landlord. Oh yeah, I remember the moment that everybody memed on that. That probably got turned into part of that YouTube poop where it's like, you'll get your rent when you fix this damn door. No, it says, escort me to my love. My wife! Many such cases. See, there's Great Canyon. But right now, I want to do the Uproar Forest ones. I will visit Angles. Angles for sure. Join the team. Then I think Power Plant is where I have to go. Yeah. Your teammate is such a puppy. In parentheses, complimentary. I think that's true if it's in parentheses, complimentary. And Magnetar as well. I know I've been taking, like a good boy. Yeah. I know I've been taking Magnemite on like every adventure, but I established a ground rule that I wanted to get a lot of my team members at least to level 20. Take that item. There we go. That can probably stay with me. Actually, no, I wanna deposit that in storage before I go to Uproar Forest. Store, please. Just this apple. Yes. If it turns out here, hold on, let me actually look up. Is there a post game in Blue Rescue Team and Red Rescue Team? Post game. Okay. Stormy Sea, Buried Relic, Northern Range, Pitfall Valley, Silver Trench, Meteor Cave, Fiery Field, Lightning Field, Northwind Field, Mount Faraway, Western Cave, Wish Cave, and Murky Cave. Chapter 15? What? Let me see. Let me see this here. Chapter 11. Okay, so there is more to the game. There is a post game. It's kind of an arduous post game too. The post game for this game I feel like is actually more difficult than the post game for Explorers of Sky, which I guess makes sense because this game is just not as good, well balanced, or well polished as Explorers of Sky. But you know what? It's fine. Okay, I deposit that into storage. My team looks about how I want it. Now let's go to Uproar Forest. And for some reason, I now have access to Waterfall Pond, I guess. Oh, great, another escort mission, and they're level 1! That hurts me spiritually. Okay. Nidoran, I'm gonna need you to stay behind me. You're gonna get one tapped? Yeah, basically. Basically. The good thing about this game is that Pokemon levels in these dungeons don't ramp up that hard. And Pokemon don't have more HP as enemies than they do when you recruit them. So that leads to, like, sometimes in the decently late game, like, this was kind of late in the main game, Uproar Forest, a lot of Pokemon will still only have anywhere from 50 to 70 HP, where, like I've explained before, in Rescue Team DX on the Switch, see, he died from 65 damage. You can legitimately do 100 damage to a Pokemon that only has 40 HP and they'll survive. Because the game has, like, hard-coded it so that Pokemon are stronger, or rather at least have more health, and I think even a larger move pool as enemies. No, that's not true. They obey the rules of the move pool, but they don't obey the rules of having the right amount of HP when they are your opponent. What missions am I going? So, okay, 5th floor and 9th floor. Maybe they have super regeneration? Yeah, sure, that's it. The game's definitely not just cheating. No, it's not even regeneration either. They just have more health as opponents than as allies. You know? This way? No. Okay, great, very good. Alright. Magnetar's gotta be getting close. Yeah, 268 experience points. No, 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 no. Not making that mistake again. What the... Okay. Like you're babysitting children? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, this game gives you useful parenting experience that you can never take your eyes off of a small child for a moment, because they'll, like, go and drink dish soap or something. Thunder Wave could be good. I'll actually forget Supersonic for that. And now, that's one objective completed. Magnetar's level 21. So, I'm going to start subbing in some other members of the team. Oh boy. Sandstorm is big trouble in this game. It's so much big trouble that you might even say that we're in Little China. Or something. And that's why. Big trouble, Big Trouble in Little China is a movie. See, Nidoran almost lost half of their health just from that. And even me and Mudkip didn't do, like, amazingly. Like, you could see we weren't able to out-heal the damage that Sandstorm does to you. Because it does 5 in this game. In later games, it does 3. See, environment damage doesn't scale. Yeah, it's a flat 5 damage instead of a weighted percentage of your health. Which means that environmental hazards are significantly more dangerous when you are lower leveled. The game, like, punishes you for being weaker. Like, disproportionately. You know? It's kind of like how a sales tax is a flat percentage amount on the item you're purchasing, regardless of how much your income is. This is why a lot of countries just don't have sales tax, but almost every country has income tax. It's a simple, like, scaling is a simple, like, matter of mathematics and science, right? Like, economists will pretty ubiquitously agree that, like, income taxes, progressive taxes scale just way the fuck better for, like, not hurting poor people disproportionately. And you would be hard-pressed to find an economist that supports anything larger than, like, a nominal sales tax of, like, 1 cent. Because sales taxes have always been regressive. Even Adam Smith advocated for sales tax because it was comparatively less regressive, like, only because it was comparatively less regressive than the tax that came before it, which was, like, put $50 in the bowl, right? Like, when have Republicans ever agreed with economics? That's true. Big facts. You know, like, even when income tax didn't exist and Adam Smith was talking about sales tax as a tool, he argued that it was merely a lesser evil than the tax man harassing you for a flat, like, amount of pounds or francs or livres tournois or whatever the money was at the time. Like, because sales tax would be a percentage rather than, like, a flat number. And even when sales tax was the only method of consistently taxing, like, raising tax income in a not horrendously abusive way, Adam Smith was still like, you should probably consider something like the windows and doors tax, which France still does a version of, where it's like, if you have a big house, what do big houses tend to have, or what did they have back in the day? A lot of doors and a lot of windows. So basically, taxes would be proportioned according to how many windows and doors you had on your house. If you had a smaller house with fewer doors and windows, then you paid less in taxes. Remember seeing a video that was trying to argue against scaling taxes, saying it was unfair? Scaling taxes are the most fair form of taxation that society has ever invented, precisely because they are scaled such that if you don't have a lot of money, you don't get overly penalized for it. And if you have a lot of money, then you have naturally more cushioning anyway. You know, the point of taxes is for people who have more wealth to pay more, to contribute to society, because by virtue of having wealth, that means you have taken more from society than people who have less. That's what wealth is. That people, so many libertarians and conservatives get this twisted. Money and wealth are a measurement in some abstract or derivative way of societal resources. If you don't have a lot of money, that means you are struggling. You need help. You don't have as many resources. If you have more money, that means you are taking or accumulating more of society's resources. It literally only makes sense for society to be stable. Nothing makes sense apart from taxing wealthy people more and taxing poor people way less. Because if by some libertarian nightmare scenario, somebody in the higher wealth bracket is taxed enough that they lose their wealth, congratulations. Now that you don't have that wealth, you're not getting taxed very much anymore. You know? It's like, oh no, what if the poor business owner loses everything? Damn, that's crazy. Then you become a worker. If a business owner loses everything, they become a worker. If a worker loses everything, they die. They treat rich people like they're demigods. Yeah, basically. It really does seem that way. Shit, I haven't seen Firo yet, have I? I'm okay to walk around a bit because I have plenty of food. Hello, Firo. You here anywhere? There can't be but so many places that I haven't, like... Hello, Fendinet. Get him out of here. Uh-oh. Not good, not good. Nidoran, what are you doing? What are you doing? Only the dumbest fucks on planet Earth have ever accompanied me into a dungeon. I swear to God. There's Firo. I don't know how I missed that. Bring an idea to my head. Imagine a multiplayer mystery dungeon game. That'd be fun. I'd really like that. In fact, I think there was like an online game that was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon with like online multiplayer co-op. I don't know how many people played it, but I think it was kind of like no, there's a mod for it. It's not a mod. It's a browser like fan game. Like, legitimately, that's one thing I don't think you can actually do just with a ROM hack. You'd have to create a whole nother game. On D&D. I mean, yeah, the first D in D&D stands for dungeons. So, and this is a dungeon crawler. No, Nidoran, you are going in the front of the pack, or at the very least the middle. You are not... You have lost back of the pack privileges. What did I say about back of the pack privileges, Nidoran? No, absolutely not. No, you are going to get right the fuck behind me. Oh my god. Thank you. He's like, you can't tell me what to do. Yeah. But I want to be cannon fodder for enemy Pokemon. Wah. Cannon. Not in the mood. No. Eighth floor. I think after this dungeon, I'll probably end the stream. Oh, okay. All right. What did I say about the back of the pack? And that's why. Be careful the deadly acorn. You joke, but Nuzleaf and Seedot can actually catch you flat-footed if you're under-leveled because they have bide, which means if you hit them twice and they don't die, they hit you back and deal twice as much damage as you did to them. It's a counter move. So sometimes the acorn is actually deadly. Yeah, it's a Uno reverse card move. That's not. You guys are talking mad shit for somebody in Razor Leaf range. Get out of here. Hey, there's the other Nidoran. You get out of here. And I'll get out of here too. You hear they're making the Pokemon game like Pal World? I mean, I heard they're making another Pokemon Legends game, but that's about it. I played Legends Arceus, and I kind of like that game. Hey, nice. Picture that game, but you actually have to dodge. You have to dodge in Legends Arceus too. Takes place entirely in the city. That's actually a lot of fun. I really like that. No, I didn't mean to do that. I'll save the game here. There we go. It's completed. No more turn-based combat anymore, only cooldowns. I'm not sure how much I like that. I don't know if I like cooldowns. We'll see. We'll see how the gameplay is. I don't know. There might even be a gameplay trailer out already. Anyways. Review afternoon rank 2 XKO journey. I don't like the Switch and Switch 2 games are separate, even though it's the same game. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like, looking back on it, I kind of don't know why the Switch 2 was necessary. You know? I don't know. We'll see what kind of releases come out, but you know. You know what it could be too? It could be that this is the early, like, early period of the console, kind of like with the Nintendo Wii, they did this, where certain releases that came out late in the GameCube's lifespan or early in the Wii's lifespan would get releases on both consoles. Like Twilight Princess and Resident Evil 4 had releases for both the Nintendo GameCube and the Nintendo Wii, if I remember correctly. Definitely Twilight Princess did. Not the same game, so I can't transfer it. Well, the Wii and the GameCube had the same thing. Wii games are not backwards compatible with the GameCube, but GameCube games are forwards compatible with the Nintendo Wii. Right? Like, you can play GameCube games on a Wii, you can't play Wii games on a GameCube. They're selling two separate copies of the same new game. Yeah, I don't fundamentally have a problem with that because it's for two separate platforms, one of which is backwards compatible with the other. If you buy the Switch version, you can play it on the Switch 2, but if you buy the Switch 2 version, you can't play it on the Switch 1. Like, that's pretty normal. There are worse things that Nintendo is doing that you could get upset about. You know? It's like gamers get upset. I'm gonna like, this is a kind of a tangent, but like gamers will get upset at the weirdest things, right? Like both the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2 are relevant. By the way, Nintendo still has not recovered from supply chain problems with like the Switch 2. Actually, you can play Switch 2 cartridges on your Switch 1. It will play as the Switch 1 version. That's even weirder. That's weirder to me. That is something that I would legitimately question, like, why do that? You know? It seems like an overly complicated version of the comparatively more normal, like, oh yeah, there's one for the Switch 1, there's one for the Switch 2. You can't play the Switch 2 on the Switch 1 because, like, new console. You can play the Switch 1 version on the Switch 2. That's weird that you can do it the other way around, you know? Yeah, like, it's pretty normal for games to be forward compatible with new console. Think about the Game Boy and the DS. You can play Game Boy Advance games on a Nintendo DS. You can play Nintendo DS games on a Nintendo 3DS. You can play GameCube games on a Wii. You can play Wii games on a Wii U, but you can't play games from the later console on the earlier console unless they have their own release on that console, right? This is an example. The game that I'm playing right now was released initially for the Game Boy Advance. This is a Nintendo DS port of a Game Boy Advance game, you know? But if you had the Game Boy Advance cartridge, you could play that on your Nintendo DS. Anyways, look, all that to say, it's pretty normal. The less normal thing is that you can play Switch 2 games on a Switch 1. That'd be like playing a DS game on a Game Boy, and it kind of illustrates my question of, like, why have the Switch 2? Unless there are some, like, major releases planned that I'm not aware of yet. And, like, you know, I'd be more upset at Nintendo for, like, you know, being so zealous against all their, like, fan game creators and stuff. Yeah. Not saying this is my only complaint. What I'm saying is it's weird that that's a complaint at all. That they've made two releases for two roughly contemporaneous consoles, you know? The real complaint would be, or the real, like, question would be, why is the Switch 2 game compatible with the Switch 1? That's not usually how it works. What you're describing, a game being released for an earlier console and a later console, relatively earlier into the later console's lifespan, is fine and normal and has been happening for a long time. Like it just wouldn't make sense for them not to release it for the Switch 1, because number one, that's still a very active demographic, right? People who don't have a Switch 2 or don't have one yet and plan to get one. And they haven't fully recovered from like supply chain issues. Jesus, the supply chain is so fucked. There are still Nintendo Switch 2 shortages. Yeah, the main thing, which is like weird more so than anything, is like, why make it forwards compatible? Like why make the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch 2 game compatible with the Nintendo Switch 1? Like I don't know how that works or why they did that. You know? Yeah. Anyways, I am going to raid Hassan probably. Oh yeah, Hassan is presently talking about something that was mentioned in the Discord, which is the ceasefire, quote unquote ceasefire in Palestine. Is it about the dog thing again? No. What? The what I was talking about was like Trump's like chat's delayed. Oh yeah, that's true. What got mentioned in the Discord, what Hassan's talking about presently is like the Palestine deal that was brought to my attention earlier. All the previous ceasefire deals for Palestine or whatever have been fake and gay, and this one's also fake and gay. Because Israel has no intention to follow through if it means like there's any potential for a two-state solution. I mean, Israel, I think, is even blocking the release of like a popular moderate politician who's Palestinian. So don't expect it to go anywhere, I guess. Anyways, enjoy the Hasanabi broadcast. I will be back soon, hopefully.